Incidents of violent crime are on a steady decline across the state of Michigan. Even so, there are thousands of cases going unsolved every year. News 10's Riley Connell joins us live in the newsroom to tell us how state lawmakers are trying to solve the problem.
Yeah, and Michigan State Police measure the number of unsolved violent crimes using something called a clearance rate. And their data shows those rates have dropped over the last several years. Lawmakers are now pushing for new police funding to bring more of those cases to justice.
Now we have 4 detectives.
In Eaton County, those 4 sheriff's detectives take on quite the caseload.
So it could be anywhere from fraud to violent crimes. Might have detectives handling death investigations.
Lieutenant Aaron Campbell says bringing those cases to justice is difficult without the proper staff or technology.
The resources were there could definitely help in, having quicker turnaround on those cases.
It's a struggle that many law enforcement agencies face all over the state. Michigan State Police data shows last year, law enforcement solved roughly 33% of a total 549,000 reported crimes around the state. That clearance rate is a bit higher, 42%, for major violent crimes like murder, assault, and rape.
And we know that our law enforcement agencies are doing the best they can, but we need to make sure that they have the resources they need.
Senator Stephanie Chang is proposing a dedicated state fund to support the hiring and training of investigators, plus technology upgrades. With support from both Democrats and Republicans, Chang says creating the fund is a win for law enforcement and for victims.
And so this is something that I hope can really help to make sure that we're improving our justice system, building more trust in our justice system, hopefully in the end giving more victims the sort of closure that they deserve.
It would give us extra bodies, give us extra technology that we can use, things that we don't have right now that can be a huge factor down the road.
Lawmakers are calling this effort the Clearance Rate Fund. Senator Chang made her proposal in the state Senate. Her Republican colleague, Representative Sarah Leitner, introduced a bill to establish the fund in the state House, making this a bipartisan proposal. Live in the newsroom, Riley Connell, News 10.
All right, Riley, thank you. In a statement, Representative Leitner highlighted her proposal, saying local law enforcement do incredible work, but they need our help, adding that clearance rates of violent crimes are too low in many Michigan communities because our amazing first responders lack the support they need from Lansing.